In today's video, we're going to check out PowerShell Functions. PowerShell Functions are the Lego bricks of our PowerShell code. They allow us to build repeatable actions that can be reused many times. Functions are not just a basis of PowerShell, but they are the basis of most object-oriented programming languages out there, and they are essential for us to kind of get our heads around and to actually learn before we start to write proper large scripts within PowerShell. So let's get straight on with the demo for PowerShell Functions. So we're going to look now at functions within PowerShell. Functions allow us to pre-package things inside our code into kind of like little boxes that can be called upon later on within the code. So instead of having to repeat specific actions, we could create an action inside a function and continue to call that function throughout the code. Functions are in most programming languages we find out there, and we can see them now in PowerShell. So to create a function in PowerShell, all you have to do is use the word function. Very easy. We could name the function something like this, getGreeting. We could name it anything we wanted to. It doesn't have to be in this format of verb-noun format. We could actually name this apple, we could name this Bananarama apple, it doesn't particularly matter. But after we've named our function code is stored between these two curly brackets. I have currently got a greeting variable declared inside here called HelloWorld, and I have a right host for $greeting. This variable is actually scoped inside this function. So I can't call this variable or access it outside of the context of this box, this functional box. If I run this now within PowerShell, you'll notice nothing actually happens. Nothing happens until I call the function for use. The function was called get-greeting. So if I do get-greeting here in the terminal, it will run that function and returns hello world. I could also put that directly at the end of the code here if I wanted to. Get-greeting, and I could go and run that same code, and you'd see the output there as hello world. We can expand on this concept greatly as well. We can also add into our functions things like parameters, because functions are a little bit like commands. So if I take this param block here and add a couple of brackets to it, I can now start declaring some things inside here. So if I go, for example, string, and we'll name this string $name if we want to. Or, even better idea, we'll name this string $greeting. Okay, great. So here, what we can do is we can also change this right host around. So here we can also see we're getting this greeting. This greeting is currently setting itself to hello world. We can remove that, and now we can actually pass this as a parameter. So if, for example, I remove this code here, I now rerun this, I can now run get-greeting and put a parameter on the end with a dash, and that parameter is going to be called greeting. So if I go and add in hello, that code is now going to run, and I'm inputting information inside a parameter. So let's take that a little bit more in depth. Let's create another function down here, and we're going to paste in an existing function that I have, and it's called getSquare. This is to go and get some squared numbers. So here we have a parameter. It's a different parameter. It's an integer, not a string, and the integer is going to be number. The result is going to be number multiplied by number, to square a number. So let's clear this up a little bit, and let's go and rerun this code. Now if I run this code, start debugging, what's actually going to happen is it's going to load both of these functions into memory for me to play with. So I could run get-greeting with my greeting variable on there. Or I could run get-square and give this a number. Say for example number 3, and the square of 3 is 9. What happens if I don't give that a variable though? If I delete this and press enter, I get 0. Because there's a lot of things you can do with parameters, and we'll take a look at those later on. Like for example, making sure that parameters are declared as default, and you are pre-populating those parameters with information, or you can make parameters required or optional. So you can make a commandlet, or make a function in this sense, with a variable, so with a parameter. You could make a function in this sense with a parameter that you have to fill in, or the function is not actually going to work. So this is a very basic example of PowerShell functions, and we will reuse this concept a lot in the coming series. And you know the routine, hashtag like and subscribe, and I hope you enjoyed this video and will join me next time. Goodbye.